Welcome back to the Franchise Tag Scouting Department. On today's video, I'm going to be going over the quarterback out of the draft, Caleb Williams, quarterback out of USC. He's 6'1", 224, and he will be 22 entering the league. He's long been considered the top quarterback out of this draft class, but despite some controversies off of the field, few disagree with that fact that he is the top-end skill set in the draft. So let's get into the tape. Caleb Williams has every arm angle in the bag available to him in his skill set. He can throw with a nasty sidearm. He throws across his body. He does all of these things that are kind of a faux pas in the league to do consistently in his college tape. He even throws jumps. He throws no-lookers. He does it all. He also extends plays like the best of the best, like Kyler Murray, like Patrick Mahomes. His maneuverability behind the line of scrimmage is top tier. He really does just make nothing turn into something, and generally that something is going to be a big splash play, whether it be that he's scrambling hard right and does a complete loop-de-loop to go hard left and then pick up a first down. While he's doing this scrambling, he's able to direct traffic very well, either pointing wide receivers to open up a lane for him to run or to open them up and pass to them. And as I said, he has every arm angle in the bag available to him, and that's even when he's running full speed. He can make those throws across the field, across his body, against his speed, etc., etc., all thanks to that arm talent he has. Prior to scrambling, he will extend the play by climbing the pocket, and he won't sell out to the run or purely scramble. He's able to reset his pocket. He's able to realign his feet and keep his eyes downfield at times. And at other times, he does do that scramble and direct traffic. And at other times, he just simply steps up into the pocket, or he will backtrack and step up and kind of do that on repeat to reset his tackles' angles against their edge rushers. On that note, he stands firm in the pocket when there's absolutely no pressure. He's not antsy. He doesn't get happy feet. He stays like a statue and scans the field as he should. He makes his way through his progressions very well, and he will set his feet as he finds his targets. With his target acquisition, he will hitch at every single progression read, and that is a great trait to have because it allows him to see player, see open, throw ball. And there's no wasted movement. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He has the most efficient throwing motion when he sees an open player because he already has his feet set. With all of that arm talent I've mentioned, deep passes come easily to him. He's able to put air under the ball, and he makes drops in the bucket easily, hitting them on the outside over the shoulder or just straight down the middle of the field. He's able to make every deep spiral look beautiful. Caleb Williams isn't just a big play machine either with these deep passes, with these splash plays that are on broken down plays that you don't expect it, but he's able to throw cross body and all of that. He doesn't just do that. He's consistently accurate within a pocket, within a clean pocket or a dirty pocket. He's able to throw into closed windows, where it be a hitch where the DB is covering it very well, but he's going to throw it low into the wide receiver's feet, so the wide receiver has to go and dive for it and doesn't have to make a standing contested catch, which will likely be batted due to the DB being draped over it. I know with as short of a pro section as this, it may seem like I'm glossing over some of the more important parts of his game, but it is just purely for the succinctity of this video. I've got tape running this whole time. There's plenty of highlight plays to go still at this point in the video, so keep watching if you want to keep up with all of the highs you can see out of Caleb Williams. I'm going to go ahead and start speaking on some of the cons. Caleb Williams' main flaw is that he paints his nails, he wears dresses, and he cries on the sideline. And now, in all seriousness, I'd like to scratch that from the record. You didn't hear it from me because I'm not holding that against him. I'm just doing that for laughs. To me, his biggest con is his ball security. When scrambling, he runs like he's got a loaf of bread. He's not very protective of the ball unless a defender gets close to him and then he has the realization to bring it to his body. But sometimes they come in out of nowhere and he doesn't see it, and that's just risky maneuvering with the ball. Despite this fact, he doesn't actually have that many fumbles specifically from his scrambling and toting the ball like a loaf of bread, but he does have a loose grip on the ball when standing in the pocket. It's often batted out of his hands, fumbled within the pocket, and some of these fumbles also just come from circumstance. He's got some fumbles just from bad snaps. He's got some fumbles from handoffs that go awry. With those handoffs, we don't know particularly whose fault it is. Even more inexplicably, he sometimes throws straight to the defense, probably just for not seeing them. In his peripherals, there's a couple I've included in the tape here against Notre Dame. Specifically, I noticed it there where he's throwing it up and they're definitely coming out of somewhere he didn't even see. But outside of those specific plays against Notre Dame, he does often just kind of throw it up and it can sail over some people's heads where he gets to the point of, okay, why is that ball even going there straight to a defender? Some of these highlights I've included in the video look outrageous, and they look outrageous because they don't fly in the NFL. There's such an increase of powerful and talented defensive players that these plays don't happen. It's why we don't see them. It's why it's shocking and exciting to see in his college tape. But in reality, he can't keep this up at the NFL level. He may have his highlights end up being as exciting as some Patrick Mahomes highlights, but I'm not going to make that projection for him now as he's still not even drafted into the league yet. Another con I noticed with his game is that he often will opt away from these checkdowns looking for these bigger plays. It's part of that hero ball mentality that I'm sure everyone has heard already by now. It's been harped on Caleb Williams with no end. He plays hero ball. He had to do it because of his defense, and he got more desperate with it as the year went on and the losses started piling up for USC. He wanted to make a bowl game. He wanted to play in an important game so that way he can show to this draft media that, look, I played in a big game. This is how I performed. It's something that's held against him as of now. And he got desperate in these late stages of the season when he's trying to win these games. And he's kind of throwing the ball up and he's making slightly worse decision making because of that yearning to win that game. And in that notion, he will, opt away from the checkdowns looking for a splash play, and he'll opt away from throwaways because he wants to extend and he wants to make something happen. But oftentimes that will result in a sack, which is just a bigger negative play for the team than the check down, which would have gotten yards, or a throwaway, which would have lost none. The next con I have for Caleb Williams is that he tends to throw his wide receivers into some dangerous looks. He doesn't do his wide receivers that many favors when throwing intermediate distances, oftentimes putting it up in the air and allowing safeties to kind of come crashing down on top of them. And the last con I have for him is at times his poise in the pocket can count against him. He will hang in there too long and he will end up coughing up the ball on a hit or the ball getting swatted out of his hands. He just won't feel the pressure coming in. In conclusion, Caleb Williams is an elite play extender. He has excellent arm talent to allow these highlight plays, but he could also fumble the ball at any given moment. He does have these lows that we see. Now, I've been doing the Drake May, Jaden Daniels comparisons against each other as I just did their scouting reports, and I'll go ahead and I'll make the comparisons now that Caleb Williams doesn't have that same mentality of being able to check down that Jaden Daniel does, but he doesn't have the horrible decision-making that Drake May had. Drake May's tape, I saw it consistently throughout it, and it was constantly 50-50 on the outcome of the play. Caleb Williams was much more well-polished, well-rounded at the early half of the year when he's making these hero ball plays and he's going ahead and he's doing these wild decision making, but it ends up working out because he puts the ball on the money. Drake May didn't have that consistency. Now, as I said, that was the first half of the year. He did show a sense to be desperate in that later half of the season because of those losses I mentioned that were piling up, and he wanted to make it into a bowl game. He wanted to play an important game, but he couldn't because his defense let him down. I think that while Caleb Williams could have a top 10 quarterback season his first year in the league, especially considering this great expected, and this is coming out before the draft, I expect he's going to go to Chicago. He's got this great situation in front of him where he has wide receivers, he has a defense built up now, and he'll be able to kind of get drafted in, and whoever else they draft in the first round is also going to hugely benefit him, no matter if it's offense or if it's defense. He hasn't played with a great defense, so playing with a good defense in the league will greatly help him. It's going to kind of neutralize that desperateness in his passing game that we saw in the later half of his 2023 season. My only hope is that the Bears can actually develop him. We've seen the situation a lot with the Bears. I think that the Bears right now with Ryan Poles are in a great spot. It could be different than anything we've seen before. I don't want to count out the Bears because they're the Bears. If they are able to give Caleb Williams a safe pocket, if they're able to give Caleb Williams a good defense to where he's not playing hero ball 100% of the snaps, he can develop very, very well. But they need to do the developing. And I'm not saying that he has a long way to go. He has great accuracy. He has great arm talent. But I'm saying that any quarterback, when not given a good situation and not given the chance to develop and grow, they're not going to last in the league very long. Caleb Williams is the best quarterback in this draft. There's no doubt about it. And with that, I leave y'all. Deuces.